America, we got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Is there not one Republican who will say something? Not one? Is there not one Republican with a modicum of courage who will risk taking a blowtorch to their political career to do the right thing and say something? Is there not one Republican willing to risk hurting, harming, losing their political career to do the right thing and say something? Not one. Is there not one last remaining Republican with courage in Washington, D.C. who will say something? Just one. Is there not one? The East Wing of the White House will be gone by tomorrow, Friday. The entire East Wing will be gone, demolished, destroyed. Is there not one Republican, just one, who will say something? What Trump is doing right now is illegal. He doesn't have the authority to do it. Yet he's doing it. You've heard everybody say it. It's not his house, it's ours. He's doing it. The entire East Wing will be gone by tomorrow. Is there not one Republican? Just one. Who will say to themselves, oh, screw it. I don't care if I get reelected. Damn it, what Trump is doing is wrong. That's the people's house. He doesn't have the authority to knock walls down and destroy part of the people's house. I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack from Republican voters. I know I'm going to catch a lot of shit from the Republican base, from MAGA. But damn it, I've had it. I've got to say something. Is there not one Republican who will say, screw my political career? One Republican, just one, who will stand up, one Republican in Washington, D.C., who will stand up in the public square, look at Trump and say, stop. Stop destroying our house. It's wrong. Stop. Is there not one Republican, just one, in Washington, D.C., who will say something? I don't think there is. In fact, I posited yesterday, I put it out yesterday, I wrote, I had my midweek meltdown on Substack yesterday, putting this thought experiment out there. And this may sound crazy to you, what I'm about to say, but I think it shows really clearly where we're at. If Donald Trump next week began to tear down parts of the Washington Monument because he didn't like the way it looked. It was too narrow at the top. Trump wanted it to look uh, 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 bigger, wider, stronger, with more gold. So if next week Trump began to demolish part of the Washington Monument because he didn't like the way that monument looked, not one Republican would say anything. Not one. They'd all applaud or look the other way. If Donald Trump next week began to demolish the Washington Monument, nobody on Fox News would criticize him. None of his supporters would say a thing. And again, not one Republican in the House or the Senate would say anything. Now, at one level, that's pretty unbelievable when you think about it. And I put that out again last night on my Substack, and a bunch of people said, Joe, that's crazy. If Trump started to tear down the Washington Monument, Joe, that would be too far. And even Republicans, there'd be some Republicans who would say something. Joe, there'd be some Republicans who would say, Mr. President, you can't do that. Sir, you can't do that. You can't all by yourself unilaterally begin to tear down part of the Washington Monument because you don't like it, like the way it looks. You can't do that. Some folks told me that Republicans, there would be Republicans who would respond that way. Bullshit. These people said to me last night, Joe, he can't do that to the Washington Monument. It's historic. It's protected. It's a landmark. It's this and it's that. The President of the United States can't all by himself begin to restructure the Jefferson Memorial or the Washington Monument. To which I said to these folks, bullshit. Trump's doing that right now to a historic landmark, and not one Republican has said a damn thing. Trump's destroyed the entire east wing of the White House, a protected house, a protected building, a historic building. Donald Trump doesn't have the authority to do what he's doing right now to the people's house. He doesn't. He wouldn't have the authority to begin to tear down the Washington Monument. He wouldn't, but he's doing it right now to the White House. And not one Republican has said a damn thing. Not one Republican has stood up in the public square and said, stop. Not one Republican. So as far-fetched as that may sound, like Trump begins to demolish the Washington Monument next week or the Jefferson Memorial next week because he didn't like the way they look, don't fucking tell me that Republicans would speak up. Seriously? Don't say that. Don't you say that. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, not even close, but don't insult my intelligence. And it's really wild and pathetic that we're even at a point where, like, I'm asking that question or putting that thought experiment in front of us. It shows us how far down this road we are. It shows us what an authoritarian, embracing cult my former political party has become. It shows us just the fact that that it's possible. Well, I got to think about that one, Joe. Trump next week begins to tear down the Washington Monument. Would Republicans, would finally then, my God, finally then, would some Republicans say something? The fact that we're even thinking about that, wondering about that, says everything we need to know about the state of my former political party right now. And it's a reminder of the fact that Trump's doing what he's doing right now because no Republican is stopping him. No Republican is willing to speak up. No Republican is courageous enough to say something. I think deep down, I'm right. That if Trump began to destroy the Washington Monument next week, think about it. Think about it. Not one Republican would say a thing. Not one. I mean, that blows the mind, right? But I'm right, don't you? You know I'm right. And it saddens you and sickens you that I'm right. It's what he's doing now. And it really is the problem. It really is the bigger problem of where we're at as a country right now. And we've been down this road a bunch. I've been down this road a bunch. It gets old and it gets tiresome to continue to say Trump is a horrible person. Trump is clearly a dishonest person, right? Not going to touch the White House, not going to touch the structure. It won't even touch the structure, he said 3 months ago. Now that structure, the entire east wing of the structure, demolished. He's a horrible person, a bad person, a dishonest person. He's a psychopath. He's everything. It just gets tiresome to say that every day. But thankfully, the bigger problem is all of his enablers who've allowed this really bad person to do anything he wants to do and say anything he wants to say. And I don't know how we dig our way out of this. Like there are people who think when Trump's gone, if Trump's gone, miraculously every Republican's going to wake up and go back to the way they were before Trump, or they'll stop being an authoritarian embracing cult like that. I don't believe that. This is such a big problem. And I'll say this on every platform. I'll talk about what Trump is doing to the people's house on every platform and on TV and everywhere I go, because I really think this is a crystallizing issue. I think this epitomizes where we are, right? A madman in the White House, a fascist in the White House. Hey, John Fetterman, did you hear me? A fascist in the White House, a king, a tyrant in the White House who believes he can do anything he wants. And a lot of Americans kind of know that and sense that, but they have a hard time visualizing, what does that mean, Joe? What do you mean, Joe, when you say we have a guy in the White House who believes he's above the law, he can do whatever he wants, Constitution, rules, norms, laws be damned. I kind of get it, Joe, but I don't quite see what you mean. Watching the White House come down is what I mean. The images and the video of an entire wing of the White House destroyed is clarifying to people. Oh, that's what you mean. Oh, now I get it, Joe, when you said we got a guy in the White House who's out of control, who can do whatever he wants, right? Laws don't constrain him, right? The rules don't constrain him. Now I see what you mean. He's fucking destroying the White House all by himself. Well, that's wrong. You mean he can do that, Joe? If I had $1 for every time these past few days when someone's asked me, Joe, he doesn't have the authority to do that by himself. Seriously? Isn't there a process? Doesn't there need to be approvals and permits and a lot of vetting and all of that and involve Congress and all of that? Anytime we've restructured the White House, the People's House, Congress has been involved. Yeah. Joe, isn't there? He can't do this on his own, right? So many people have asked me, and they're getting it. This is what you mean, Joe. An out of control dictator who all by himself is destroying a historic landmark. Most people now see that and get that. In the same way that most people now see and get the cruelty of Trump's deportation policy, because they're seeing the videos, the images on the streets of masked federal agents on the street, disappearing immigrants and American citizens off of our streets. They're seeing the video. And in real time this week, they have seen a fucking tyrant in action, all by himself, destroying our house. But I kind of know the answer, but I'm going to continue to ask the question every day. Is there not one Republican? Just one. Just one. I get it. Willing to take a blowtorch to their career and do the right thing and stand up and say, this is wrong. Stop. This is wrong. Is there not one? Hey, I'm asked all the time by people all the time what it's going to take to, if ever, move any of Trump's base off of him. Like, what will it take, Joe, for any of Trump's MAGA voters, true believer voters, to not vote Republican in 26? What's it going to take? How do you pry them off of Trump? My answer generally is pain, economic pain, personal economic pain is the only thing that will turn damn near anybody in Trump's hardcore base off of him. Pain, you lose a job. Pain, everything's too fucking expensive. Pain, your business closes down. Pain, your farm goes belly up. Real personal economic pain caused by him. That, more than anything else, sadly, is the thing that will move Trump's hardcore voters off of him. Keith, do we still have what Trump said about tariffs in China? I don't know. Thanks, man. Trump yesterday. What does this mean? Trump yesterday announcing tariffs on China will be at 155% tariffs as of November 1. Now, keep that up for a sec, Keith. Again, the rule with Trump is don't ever believe anything he says, but this goes to the economic pain. 155% tariffs on everything coming out of China on November 1st. 20% tariff, 60% tariff, 50% tariff one day, 92% tariff the next day. No tariffs, 100% tariffs, no tariffs, 125% tariffs, 10% tariffs, 155% tariffs every fucking day for the last 7 months. The chaos and the damage, thanks, Keith, that Trump's chaotic tariff policy has brought to the American people, and the evidence is in, right? Every study being done right now in real time, right now. We are paying for these tariffs. Inflation is on the rise. Everything costs more. People are beginning to get laid off. Small businesses, the backbone of this country, when it comes to the hiring in this country, they're beginning to hold off on hiring people. More than half of the farms in America are losing money right now. Something like 60%. 60% of all U.S. farms are losing money right now. That's a real threat to small towns and rural communities. Farm bankruptcies are up something like 57% over last year. Farm bankruptcies up 57% over last year. It's starting. Farmers voted for Trump overwhelmingly. Farmers voted for Trump overwhelmingly in 2016, and then farmers got pounded, hurt bad by Trump's tariffs in his first term. Farmers now are getting hurt even worse right now by Trump's tariffs. And we're beginning to see farmers speak up. Heck, we're beginning to see cattle. Did you see what the cattle ranchers said yesterday? I don't know if we have that headline, Keith. Cattle ranchers came out and strongly condemned Trump's America First policy of wanting to make it easier for Argentinian beef to come into this country. The price of beef is through the roof because of Trump's tariffs. So Trump, who is trying to bail out Argentina to the tune of $40 billion, nothing America First about that. Now, Trump is embarked upon this plan to import more beef from Argentina. And cattle ranchers are rightly pissed off. Thanks, Keith. It's too bad. It is. That the average American who voted for Trump wasn't sufficiently bothered by all the corrupt, lawless, authoritarian, un-American, anti-democratic things he's done over the years. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to get into that again. It's too bad. Like, it's too bad that the simple act of an American president losing an election, refusing to accept the result, refusing to concede, had never been done before in American history. It's too bad that that alone wasn't enough to turn every regular, everyday American against Trump for good. And then it's too bad that, then Trump tries to overthrow an election here in America. commits crimes trying to do it. He incites January 6th. It's too bad that that alone did not make Donald Trump a pariah with every single American. I'm not going to fight that fight again, though. I get it. And it's too bad that everything else Trump is doing right now, turning the Justice Department into his own personal law firm, everything Trump is doing right now, using his office to personally enrich himself and his family like we ain't never seen. It's too bad none of that matters enough to regular folk out there. And it's too bad that it's going to take these regular folk, I mean, getting hurt economically. I mean, feeling real fucking personal economic pain because of Trump's stupid, unconstitutional tariffs, because of Trump's insane chaos, because of Trump's mass deportations. It's too bad that it's going to take Americans really hurting before they would even think about not voting for him, before they would even think about turning away from his political party. But that's what it's going to take. And a reminder is there's no guarantee that that will ultimately make a difference because, as I said, American farmers were devastated in Trump's first term by his policies. They voted for him again in large numbers in 2020 and 2024. So I don't know. I mean, if 90% of US farms right now, it's almost 60%, but if 90% of US farms early next year are losing money, is that enough to make America, because of Trump? Is that enough to make some American farmers turn against Trump politically? China is not buying any U.S. soybeans. China has not bought any U.S. soybeans. Man, you're a U.S. soybean farmer out there. I don't know how you're still alive economically. And Donald Trump single-handedly has fucked the soybean industry in this country. Thanks for listening. My Substack, by the way, Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. Subscribe, give it a look, check it out. If you like what you see, we put all the video, everything we write about, interviews I hold, everything we put right there on the Substack. Subscribe, please, to my Substack. It's the best and easiest way to support what I do. Shoot me an email if you want to talk about anything. If you'd like to get something off of your chest to me, the Social Contract with Joe Walsh at gmail.com. That's all one word, the Social Contract with Joe Walsh at gmail.com. I apologize if I've spent too much time this week on what Trump is doing to the people's house. I'm profoundly sad about this and really bothered by this. It won't be the only thing I talk about. I'm not going to stop talking about it because I think it just perfectly, vividly displays the tyranny that we're living under right now. It explains to Americans, it shows Americans what we mean by a president who's out of control, who has unlimited power. Here it is in a clear, vivid, concrete example. He's destroying and demolishing a historic landmark, your house and my house. Every American can get that. Can understand that. Thanks for listening. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review.